Hi, all fellow educators. This is my semester-long project, and it was just that, a semester-long project. I created my website with Google Sites. As you can see, here is my main page. It just lets you know that my semester-long project was completed with the 5th grade standard on microorganisms in mind. There's a brief introduction of myself, a photo of myself and my two lovely boys, and just a thank you for coming to my website. Again, my SLP standard was on microorganisms. The more specific name for that standard is S5L4, and it just goes over how students need to understand that microorganisms affect larger organisms like human beings. The reason that I chose this standard was to challenge myself, because normally with the other standards, I always find it easier for me personally to come up with fun and engaging activities, but this was one of the standards that I kind of struggle with, so I decided to challenge myself and create an e-module with this topic because it's much needed. In order to create this project, I created and also pulled from online different credible resources that hit each learning target. So this e-module does not just cover beneficial microorganisms or harmful microorganisms, but it covers both. Students will be learning about both of those. It might take a little bit more time than a day. It could possibly take a week or 2 weeks for students to go through the e-module, and that's okay. It can be tailored to what you need. But students do have choices in the e-module. They are able to choose between a virtual field trip on good bacteria that lives inside my fridge. They'll go through and look at different probiotics that are in the refrigerator, as well as a couple of decomposers and probiotics. The other option that they have is to create a wanted poster, just like if you see a criminal on TV, on the news, they might have a wanted sign for a criminal that has not been caught yet. The students will be creating a wanted poster for a criminal, which would be a harmful microorganism, something like the bacteria for strep throat, and other things like that. So they have choices in this. The project provides students with an interactive e-module, personalized learning, virtual field trips, creativity options, learning style choices, and assessments as well. And I do integrate some reading standards with this science topic. So it covers some reading as well, which is always wonderful. If you look across the top of my webpage, you will see all of the different tabs that I have. So theory was one of them. Theory includes my theories narrative notes that I did, and all the links should be through Google Drive. And then the theory that I chose that I most identified with was project-based learning. And my overview of that is here. The next tab would be content knowledge. On this page, you will find additional science resources that I literally use in my classroom every day: Nearpod, Flocabulary, Generation Genius, and ReadWorks. If you're not familiar with those, they are wonderful. ReadWorks is free. Nearpod is free, I believe. And Generation Genius has a 90-day free trial, so at least you'll have 3 months to do it for free. After that, it unfortunately does cost. But if it's in your budget, it is a wonderful tool to have. and possibly could be sponsored by your principal or others. I also include on this page an NSTA article review. The project that I read about was on decomposers, and so it went with my semester-long project really well. And then lastly, my trade book analysis. I did my trade book analysis on a book I'd never read, but it was called Maddie's Fridge. I included a wonderful storyline online read aloud by Jennifer Garner on this book. It kind of brings the book to life. I love playing storyline online for my students. But that's a wonderful read aloud. If you want to use that, please feel free. The book is so sweet and so cute. It integrates some health standards, science standards, and it's just SEL. I know SEL is a huge component right now in the classroom. So it just hits on all of that. So look into that if you have a chance. I also list some challenges and benefits of the materials listed on that page. Next, the next tab I have on my website is pedagogical knowledge. On this, I include my lesson plan for my e-module as well as my e-module for the students. So what you see is a lesson plan for the teacher to follow through with. It's, of course, more specific and touches on different materials and things needed. And then the e-module is for the student. You can just assign it to the student and they won't need anything else besides this page and these active running blue links. And again, this is the module where students choose between doing a project on beneficial microorganisms or harmful microorganisms. It does end with a video and assessment for the students to complete. At the bottom of this page, I also list the challenges and benefits of the resources listed. Of course, as educators, time restraints are always going to be a challenge, but we do what we can, right? Then we have a cultural component. There was a time in America where only one culture was the priority. Only one culture was thought of, right? So now more representation is being involved, and we as educators have to make sure that we are teaching in an inclusive way. We have to make sure we represent all students. All students want to feel welcome. All students want to feel represented. And it's really important for them to feel like their identity matters, because it does. So on this page, I just kind of go over how you can be more, how you can create a more welcoming climate for a diverse group of students. There's a bulleted list there, and then there's a video that you can watch that goes into detail as well. The last page that I have is additional resources that you can find. So I created a public service announcement on an app that I explored this semester called Solve the Outbreak. This is a wonderful app. It has you go through and learn about an outbreak that may be going on around the world. Students are able to look at different outbreaks that might be going on in New York City or California, and then they can also look at outbreaks in Africa. So it includes the entire globe, and students are able to read about the outbreak and make decisions, become a detective as they get clues and analyze how to solve the outbreak and help save lives. And that definitely aligns with those microorganisms standard there. I also list some STEM careers that students can explore that connect with the microorganisms topic. And last but not least, this is my virtual field trip. It is included in my e-module for the students. It is a a virtual field trip of my refrigerator. Students start here and then they are able to go through the different numbers, read about what that is, and there are certain activities they can choose from. So I definitely plan on utilizing that for my class this year, and I hope you do too. Thank you for coming and watching and learning. I hope that I could provide some insight on this topic of microorganisms for 5th grade educators and more. Thank you so much, and come again.